Welcome back, painting friends. It is time to paint our next member of the Gnome Band, the drummer. Colors you're going to need: teal, light blue, purple, black, brown, white, pink, yellow, and red. I always have my favorite four brushes: my 1-inch flat brush, my 10, 6, and 1 round brush. Don't forget to have a cup of water and a rag for keeping those brushes clean. So let's get started. For my Gnome Band paintings, I like to give it like a watercolor background. So all I do is take my 1-inch flat brush and some water on my canvas board. Just kind of soak it a little bit. That way, when I put the colors on, they act like a watercolor. So I'm going to make this a cool background, which means I'm going to use some teal paint, some light blue paint, and some purple paint with some white mixed in. And I'm just going to kind of brush those colors around the canvas to fill in that background space. With my background finish, I'm going to wipe my brush off and grab some brown paint, add the stage for my drummer to play on. I can always add a little bit of the blues or the greens, the blues or the teals in there if I wanted to, just to kind of give the stage a little bit of some extra fun color. Then we're going to let our background dry, and when we come back, we're going to lay out our drummer girl. With the dry background, I'm going to take my number 6 round brush and some white paint. I'm going to make 2 straight lines just above my stage. This is going to be the side of my drum. I'm then going to make a very gently curved smiley face right here, and one that copycats that just above it. And then the top, I'm just going to kind of turn it into like an oval. There we go. We got our drum for our drummer girl. Let's lay out our gnome now. Same brush. I always like to lay my gnomes out with their noses first. So I'm going to put her nose right above the drum. And then her hat, I'm just going to make my classic, over the top kind of frumpy hat. Except I'm not going to give her a rim on her hat. I'm just going to make her hat kind of go up and a couple of little bumps like this to the top. Kind of looks like an ice cream cone, doesn't it? So I'm just kind of going in, then I'm starting out a little bit, bumping it back in, all the way up to the top. Definitely looks like an ice cream cone. Same color, I'm going to go ahead and make some of her hair. So right here by the nose, I'm just going to kind of make 2 little curved lines that go in on both sides. Okay. And then down here, I'm just going to make like 2 triangles. So it's going to be like her hair's kind of in pigtails. So that is her hair. Now from there, I'm also going to add in her dress. And so I'm just going to start right here by the edge of the drum, kind of come down. This will be one of those ones that touches the floor, and her little feet are going to stick out of the bottom of it. So now that we have her body mostly lined out, her arms are going to be holding up drumsticks. So I'm going to take my white paint, and right here, I'm just going to make a curved line, a bent line there and here. Actually, it's probably too long, so I'm just going to add a little circle at the end of that. So this is going to be arm number 1. Arm number 2 is going to be on the exact same opposite side and look the same. So this is her arm, and that is her sleeve of her shirt. I'm going to make sure that her drumstick's going to be kind of going this way, so her hand is just going to kind of scoop around it. So we're just going to make like an oval right here for the top of her mitten and a thumb right there. Same thing over here. Her drumstick's going to be going this way. So we're just going to put her oval right here for her hand and her thumb sticking out towards her hat. Perfect. Let's go ahead and fill her in. So I'm going to make the dress on this gnome pink. You could choose any color you want. I'm gonna grab white paint on my brush, and I'm just gonna paint in my vanilla ice cream up here. And in just a second, we're gonna turn it into strawberry ice cream by adding some pink paint. I just can't make it not look like ice cream in my head now. So paint this whole thing in pink. I mean, white. Then I'm gonna grab the pink paint and add it in there. Go ahead and wipe that brush off, but I don't have to wash it off. What I'm gonna do is right where those bump in were, I'm just gonna take my brush and just kind of add a small little darker line that kind of connects to the rest of the hat. So watch, I'm gonna do it again up here. A little small darker line that kind of connects to the hat. Now for her dress, I'm not going to use the brighter pink. I'm just going to use the darker pink, and I'm going to paint all of that dress in that darker pink color. As far as her nose goes, I like to mix some yellow, a little bit of brown and white up to make a nice skin tone. You can make your skin tone as light or as dark as you want it. This is your gnome. Do what you want to do. But I like to take those colors to make a nice light skin tone. And then I will paint her little nose in with that skin tone. And then also all of this around here is also her skin. So I'm gonna add a little bit more brown, a little bit more yellow. Actually, I'm gonna stick a little bit of red in there too. Let's get crazy. And I'm going to paint the rest of her face in with this color that's just a little bit different. Actually, now her nose looks really yellow, so I'll probably take this color I have right here and just add some more white to it and paint over that yellow nose. Didn't realize how yellow that first color was that I made. But that is the best thing about painting. If you don't love it, you just paint over it. As far as her drum goes, you can make your drum any color you want. I want my drum to be bright red. So I'm gonna paint the belly of the drum right here. Probably not the technical term, sorry drummers. How about the outside of the drum? Probably should have looked up what that's called. I'm gonna paint that red, and the top of it, I'm gonna paint white. While I've got that white on my brush, I'm gonna go ahead and paint in the mittens of my gnome. And I'll grab a little bit of that pink paint on there, make a really nice light pink, and paint in the cuffs also. As far as your gnome's hair can go, you can make your hair any color you want. I'm gonna use yellow and brown and mix them together. I don't really want that really super bright yellow, but I do still want her to have yellow hair. So I'm gonna give her like a nice dirty blonde look here. We can just go ahead and paint in her hair blonde. So I'm gonna grab again, actually I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go to my number 6 round brush. I don't think my drumsticks need to be as big as a number 10. So I'm gonna grab my number 6. I'm gonna grab some brown paint with a little bit of white mixed in. I want it to be just a little bit lighter. And I'm gonna put the end of the drumstick down here and the top of it coming right here on top of the hat of my gnome. And then I have seen drumsticks that have like little pom-poms on them. I'm guessing that's probably to like dull the sound or mute the sound. I've also seen ones that have the little bump on the top. So you have to decide which kind of drum you're gonna be using. I'm gonna give this one the little bump on the top. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger at the top. And then we are going to let this dry. When we come back, when it's drying, I'm gonna give a second coat to my dress and my hair. And then when we come back, we'll add in all of those final details. Let's finish up some of her details. So feet, we need to add some feet there. I'm gonna grab some black paint, make a straight line at the bottom and just a bump on the top. Go ahead and fill those in. I can go ahead and take some white and black paint, mix them together and make a light gray for the details on my drum. And those details are just gonna be a gray line around the front. Top and bottom. And then a couple of gray lines that are evenly spaced going around the drum. I'm then going to take my number 6 round brush and I'm going to add in my patches. So I'm going to put my patches with white paint first, just kind of anywhere I want them to go. I like to keep them in like the rectangle-ish shape. And I'm just going to kind of put some patches on here. I'm going to add some yellow to the top after the white dries a little bit. And then I'm going to give it cute little stitching. I can even put some stitching like any place I want on her hat. Maybe make like a fun little curved line. And then I'm just gonna make a couple of X's so it looks like it's stitched together. And that's the same thing I will do around the edge of the yellow patches I'm gonna make on her clothes. Once that's finished, I'm going to take a little bit of brown paint on my number 6 round brush, and I'm just going to make a couple of little lines in here showing that her hair's kind of braided, and a couple of little lines down here, just so you know you don't mix your patches up with your hairstyle. Now, the last thing I like to do with my gnomes is add some highlights and some shadows. So I'm going to grab some white paint, and I'm going to think to myself, any place that there might be a highlight on the hat, I'm just going to add a little bit of white paint to it. So going around it on the top of the drumsticks, the top of her cute little nose, the top of her shoes even. You can even put a small little highlight on the rim of the drum. But then I also like to go through and do what I call our ghost lines. And ghost lines are where I take some black paint, water it down. I use my number 6 round brush to paint it on, but you can change yours up. And a ghost line is a line where you just kind of outline parts of an object. You don't have to outline the whole thing. You just outline parts to kind of show a little bit of definition of your space. These lines can sometimes really follow the edge of the object, or they can kind of be a little bit wonky, and either one is totally fine. Thing for our cute little drummer girl is if you want to add some notes in the sky, I like to just take a little bit of black paint and maybe draw a couple of notes that you might see on some music, just to kind of give her that full vibe of she's got a party going on. And then I want you to remember, when you're finished, you need to find a color that's going to show up on your canvas and sign your name. Remember that I never get to see what you're painting at home unless you take a picture of it and you post it to my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose, so you're kept up to date on all of my tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. And don't forget to give her a little smile. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.